I didn't know that we are a family of cheaters.
Master's thesis na yun, cinema. Anida Blanca, mga
Thank you, everyone who spoke this afternoon. Let me just read something that I prepared early this morning. When Papa vomited and excreted a sea of blood more than a month ago, I thought he was about to go. I vividly remember that Monday afternoon while we waited for the ambulance to come. I was cupping his head in my hand, and at one point, I told him to go if he must and not to worry about me. He didn't say anything. He just looked at me. He didn't go. He lived. And I was blessed enough to spend more time with him. 30 days to be exact. He passed away a day before his first anniversary in the hospital. He passed away a day before my brother Dino's birthday. The days in the hospital were days of holding hands, of waiting, of anticipating. Papa's former student, broadcaster John Paul Tia, was frequently in touch with me while Papa was in the hospital, would often ask me, is he in pain? I would always be at loss of what to say. Yes, perhaps, maybe, I didn't know. But what I know is that during his stay in the hospital, Papa never lost his sense of humor, his playfulness, his sarcasm. In spite of the numerous tubes attached to him, his mind remained lucid, strong. His will and spirit to live never faltered until the end. My father was always protective of me, perhaps because I was his favorite daughter. That's a choice. He stuck with me. Even in the hospital, when he knew it was already late at night or in the wee hours of the morning, and I was still at his bedside, he would signal with his hand because he couldn't speak. There was a tube attached to his inside his mouth. He was attached to the ventilator. He would signal with his hand and tell me to go home, to rest, to sleep. This protectiveness would continue even until his last days. I knew he wanted to spare me from seeing him struggling to breathe, struggling to live. 2 days before he passed on, he practiced dying. He had an arrest. The cardiac monitor, which was constantly attached to his body, showed a flat line for 15 seconds. He was resuscitated. My cousin was his companion inside the room when this happened. I was in the city buying his medicines. Again, hours before he passed on, that day, he left us, I was a guest speaker in high school graduation in Lambunao. Though I didn't want to leave the hospital, I had to honor a commitment I made even before he was brought to the hospital. Somewhere in Cabatuan, on our way back home, I got a call from Joven, Papa's boy Friday. He said Papa was having difficulty breathing. I told him to call a doctor. He said the doctors were in the room. There were many of them. At that point, I knew he was about to go. When I called Joven again to ask what was happening, he said, gapalanggit na si Papa. I told him to ask for a priest. Then another phone call. This time the resident doctor was on the line updating me about what happened to my father. I told him to please do everything they can para maabutan ko pa siya sa ospital. That was the longest ride of my life. The trip back to the hospital seemed to stretch forever. When I finally got to his room, a barangay of doctors was there. I asked the resident doctor how long have they been reviving him. He said 15 minutes. I told him to please stop the CPR. My father had an incision on his stomach and his right leg was amputated. I didn't want to add more to this. I didn't want him to leave this world with crushed bones. He had been through so much already. It was time to set him free from physical pain. It was time to let go. I asked the doctors to leave the room. I went to his bedside and held his hand. His eyes were closed. I told him to rest and not to worry about me. I kept on repeating, "Do not worry about me. I will be okay. I will be okay. I will be okay." I told him, "You have lived a full life. You rest now." I told him, "Palangga ko gid ikaw. Kadamo gid sang kapalangga sa imo." I told him, "Thank you for everything. Thank you for being my father." These words I said again and again and again until he breathed his last. The last words he heard were that of love, of affirmation, of gratitude. Whenever there is a death in the family, my father would always be asked to speak. He would always say we should not grieve for the dead. The dead has rested. But Leoncio, forgive us if we are mourning. Allow us to grieve because we have lost a great man, and there could never be anyone like you or like him. We have lost a prolific writer, a tireless, passionate cultural worker, a dedicated, nurturing teacher, a selfless, generous man. I have lost an editor, a critic, a guidance counselor, a confidant, a father, the best father in the world. Pops, Popsy, Leoncio, I will miss our arguments, our debates, our gossips. I will miss holding your hand and putting my arms around you. I will miss ruffling your white hair with my hand. I will miss your corny, irreverent jokes, your acidic humor. And though it greatly pains me to let you go, I'm comforted by the fact that you are now with Dino, and that you are finally reunited with your beloved Leticia, whom you love dearly and faithfully in life and in death. My father and I were each other's strength. With him gone, I am now an orphan, but I know I am not alone. And allow me to the opportunity to thank the people who have been with me since day one, since we brought him to the hospital up to today. Thank you, Agnes, Alain, and Ayla, Sid, John, Erimil, Ma'am Alice, Ma'am Ovets, Ma'am Joy, Ompoy, Julie, Alfredo, Mona, John Portia, Jigger Latosa, who was a great help to us. We were able to easily get 14 bags of blood, the Red Cross. Thank you to Jigger, to Sir Jigger. Thank you to my friends Nang Beth, Raquel, Tita Olga, Shan, Joy, and Christine. Allow me also, on behalf of my family, in behalf of our family, my father's older brother, Uncle Berting, he is the last one standing. The brood of six. It used to be our joke among my cousins and I na Jack and Poy na lang sila ni Papa. So, Uncle Berting,
you're the winner.
His nephews and his nieces and his grandchildren. We would like to thank the Cultural Center of the Philippines, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, the Union ng mga Manunulat sa Pilipinas, Philippine Pen, Mindanao Creative Writers Group, Suliman University National Writers Workshop, Hubon Manunulat and Akianon and Kinaraya Writers, national artists Franklin Shunil Jose and Emilio Almario. Thank you also to Suliman University, Suliman University Alumni Association Incorporated, University of the Philippines System, University of the Philippines Visayas, Division of Humanities, UP Visayas, our chair and our colleagues. Thank you also to the Ateneo de Davao High School class of 69 and 72, and to my father's friends who are here, who came all the way from Mindanao and Cebu, Tita Linda, Tita Christine, Sir Vic was at the tribute last night, Sir Ricky. Thank you, Manang Isabel, for flying all the way from Manila, Genevieve, and to everyone who and of course also to Papa's Boy Friday, no, si Joven, who made things easier for him. Thank you so much. As what I said last night, no, Papa would always say that whenever there is a death, life and literature go on.
St. Paul's Bishops.
Yes. The sisters also, Sister Elizabeth.
The St. Paul.
The St. Paul's, yes, for praying for him. So, madamo, give niya salamat. Thank you. What's next?